It's another reading vlog to go with the Olympics Readathon. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So this is the start of another reading vlog. This time it is themed for the Olympics Readathon. I am trying to go for a gold medal, so get 4 points in each category. We'll see what happens. So there are 3 books I have picked out to read. Now, it is the second day of the Olympics. It is Sunday, July the 28th. And I couldn't start on the first day because I had to finish the book I was currently reading. But now I finished that book, so now we can officially start. So the very first one I'm going for is a book set in Paris. And I really hope this book that I picked out is set in Paris. I mean, it has the Eiffel Tower on the front. That's right, hopefully. But when I read the back, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. So I searched online for Christian fiction set in Paris because I couldn't just find any off my shelf quickly other than this one. And when I got that Google search that came up, most of the books I've already read. And they were the ones I immediately thought of, and I'm like, well, I can't reread them. I mean, I suppose I could, but it wasn't that long ago I read them, like within the last couple of years. And then there was a couple others that came up that I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, but then I had no access to them. Or there was a couple that came up and like, that doesn't intrigue me at all. So I pulled this one from my shelves, and it is Far Side of the Sea by Kate Breslin. This will be my second time reading this author. I've only read one other book by her, but I do have 3 or 4, I'm counting this one, unread books on my shelf. So I'm like, okay. So the reason I'm saying I'm unsure, listen to the back. In 1918 England, Lieutenant Colin Mayberry spends his days decoding messages for the M18 after suffering injuries at the front. When he receives an urgent summons by carrier pigeon from Jewel Ryer, a woman who saved his life and whom he believed to be dead, he can only hope he'll regain the courage he lost on the front lines as he's driven back into war-torn France. But Jewel isn't the one waiting for him in Paris. Instead, it is a stranger who claims to be her half-sister Joanna, who works as a dovecote for French Army intelligence. She found Jewel's diary and believes her sister is alive and in the custody of a German agent. With spies everywhere, Colin is at first skeptical of Joanna, but as they travel across France and Spain, a tentative trust grows. That trust is quickly put to the test, however, when their pursuit leads them straight into the midst of a treacherous plot, and their search for answers quickly turns into a battle for their lives. So he goes from England, to Paris, but then they travel across France and Spain. So how much of it's set in Paris, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So this is going to be the first book I'm starting. So it is historical fiction set in 1918. Then the second prompt I'm doing is for gold on the cover. And I found this one, which is The Gold Digger by Liz Tolsma. I don't know how to say her last name, but I mean, it's got the word gold on the cover. And there is a little bit of gold in that, like that true colors is written in gold writing, so we'll see. This is a recommendation from my mom. She really enjoyed it, so this is the one I'm going to read. Then for the third prompt, which is the first, second, or third, for 4 points is First in the Trilogy. So that one I'm going to read Unknown Threat by Lynn H. Blackburn, which is book number 1 in the Defend and Protect series. So these two, the last 2 books, these 2, are overlapping with the Suspense Readathon that starts August the 1st. So basically today's the 28th. Yeah, so I have 4 days to get this book read, and then I can work on these ones in August to combine them with the Suspense Readathon. That is my plan. So get to it. So right now it is Sunday afternoon. We just got home from church. We're gonna have lunch. Andrew went to go get buns so we can barbecue. And then I'm going to turn on the games and watch some of the games. I did watch swimming yesterday, so I've already watched one event. And now I just need to watch 3 more, but that'll be simple. I don't have any worries about that. I did watch a little bit of the opening ceremonies, but really all I care about is watching the Parade of Nations. So I like seeing the athletes walk in. This year they sailed down the Seine River, whatever, however you say that, on different boats. But because of what time it was, when I got home from work, I saw the last part of it and then I didn't turn it on to see. So I never saw Canada enter. I saw the States enter because they were at the very end. But that's okay. I saw clips of it and stuff. And then I saw Celine Dion sing at the end. Most of the rest I just skipped over, or we were making supper while it was on, just didn't see them. And I don't really care that much. Anyways. I more care about watching the athletes compete and cheering them on to do their best. They've worked hard for this. And so, yeah. Okay, so that is going to be the check-in for now. I will get a bit read, and then I will check in and let you know what I'm thinking. And maybe if there's some sport that I'm really interested in want to check in with, I will check in then. Until later, I'll talk to you shortly. You're not going to say anything?
Pardon? Yep.
Okay, I am 100 pages into this book, and I don't know what's going on. I have the Olympics on. I've already seen this race. It's doing a replay. That's the thing that sucks about the time difference, is everything happens either while I'm sleeping or while I'm at work. So because I have an Olympics app on my phone, I get notifications when we win a medal or how the Canadians placed in the race. So then when I watch it, it's not the same, right? Because I already know the results, but I still want to watch it. Okay. This book. So, we are in Paris, or we were in Paris. The main character, Colin, has just gotten on the train to go to another place in France. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name. So that was chapter 6. Because I'm on that was up to chapter 7. So it starts in England. He travels to Paris. Then they get on the train and go to this other community in France. Then chapter 7, completely different person in Spain. And I was like, wait, what? And then as we got to know who this person was, it was like, okay, well, there is a connection, but I still don't understand. I feel a little bit lost. I know what Colin is doing and what his mission is, why he's traveled. But I don't know how this other person connects, how the stories connect. But yeah. What else? I am listening to it on audio as well, so that's partly why I've gotten so far. I mean, I'm 100 pages over 2 days so far. But what else was I going to say? Oh, when I was reading the summary of this, I don't know how I said it, but it's MI8 and MI6, the intelligence agencies. And I don't know, I think I said M16 or something. I don't know what I said. But I do know it's MI8, MI6, military intelligence, and then I'm guessing the division number. I don't really know what the difference between the numbers 6, 8 is, but yeah. And because they are in France, there are some French phrases being said or written, whichever, that I'm like, yeah, no idea. However, one thing I do have to say about the narrator on the audiobook, because Colin is Irish, grew up in England. And the lighting's changing because of the TV. That's why. I'm sorry if that's throwing you off. It's throwing me off a little bit. What was I saying? Yes. So he, like, I don't really notice an accent for him, but the female character in this one is in France and like has been living in France for a number of years. So when the narrator has her accent, I can definitely hear a French accent, and I just think that's kind of cool. But whatever. So I'm gonna keep reading. They are now traveling on train to the village, I guess, in France. This other town, city, I don't really know. And maybe the guy from Spain will connect in France, I think, but I don't really know. So I gotta keep reading to find out what's going on. And this is a race that Canada wins. Spoiler alert for past events. Okay, let's do a check-in on this one. So I am just under halfway now. And as I turned on the audiobook this morning, I got thinking, I said yesterday it was a French accent the narrator was doing for the female. It's actually an Irish accent. And I really like it. So, yeah. Okay, but I don't know where I left off last night when I checked in, they had just left Paris and then, they had just left Paris and they met. Or the next chapter was another guy, not even in France. And now we've gone back to following our main characters who are just outside Paris, and we're following their search. And I'm kind of like, and then all of a sudden there's one little scene with a completely different character again. No idea who that character was. Have an idea what they were doing because of the scene. But like, how do they fit in? What's going on? But I'm really feeling the build-up between the two main characters we're following, and it's kind of like, is a relationship going to progress with them? Or is it going to progress with the other character? I'm really intrigued on what's going to happen and what's going on. However, it is kind of slow right now. It is very slow moving. And I'm on 162, chapter 13, so I still have 200 pages left. So there's time for stuff to happen and move on. But yeah, and that's really my check-in for now. I will just say, at this point in time, I've gotten to know the characters. I am rooting for the characters, but I am finding it is moving slow. So hopefully it picks up. Andrew's at a chiropractor, so I'm reading. I'm getting there. I finished it. So it is now 11:30 on July the 31st. And I have finished my first book for the Olympics Readathon. This one is not completely set in Paris, but there are quite a few days that happen in Paris. Our main character travels from England to Paris, and then he connects with somebody, and then they travel to another city in France. Then they travel over to Spain, and then they travel back to Paris, back to England, back to Paris, and one destination at the end, which I'm not going to share because that'll give the destination away. Give the ending a little bit. But I want to say it did start slow for me, and I wasn't really sure what was going on exactly. But then the last 150 pages, I was hooked. And more particular on the characters and the relationship between the characters. And so we are dealing with World War I. It's 1918. 1918? I think so. Yes. And then there is possible spies, defectors, or
traders from countries. And who do we trust? Do we trust this guy? Is he telling us the truth? Or do we trust this guy? And I just really was invested in that. And then there is a lot of faith discussion between our two main characters and trusting God and God having our best interests at heart, and we can turn to him at any time. There is a strong faith element in this, which I really, really enjoyed. There is one part in it that it was like, oh, things aren't going to go good for my characters that I want, kind of the way I want it to end. But something else happens and it turns out okay in the end. Then I was reading the author's note, and it says, let me find it. It says, I hope you've enjoyed reading Far Side of the Sea, with the main character wounded and returning home from the war at the end of Not by Sight. I wanted to tell their story, one about a world-weary soldier living in an environment to which he no longer feels connected. And I was kind of like, this main character was in another one of her books. I have not read that book. So now I'm like, I want to go back and read that. I want to go and read that book to find out more of their background, because I really liked that character. So yeah, this is a 4-star for me. I really enjoyed it. It did take me a while to get into, but then I totally connected with the characters and wanted to know what was going to happen. Yeah, it was definitely the characters for me more than the mystery espionage type stuff that was going on. Yeah. Okay, so now I am not right now. I'm going to head to bed because I do have to work tomorrow. But my next book I'm going to start is The Gold Digger. This is the one for the metallic on the cover, so I'm using the word gold for the gold for the 5 points. But I need to figure out if I can find this on audio, and if not, I need to figure out what book I'm going to listen to audio, because I need to listen to a book tomorrow morning while I'm getting ready for work. So we'll see. So that is what I'm going to figure out before I head to bed, but then I'm going to head to bed. I will check in once I'm started this book to see how it's going. Maybe, should I tell you even what this book is about first? Maybe I'll do that. Okay, this is part of the True Colors series, Historical Stories of American Crime. It is part of a series written by multiple authors, but more because they're around the same theme, like True Stories of a Historical Crime or Historical Stories of American Crime. Can't even read it correctly. Fiction based on strange but true history. That's what it says. So I know that you do not have to read them in order. This one was recommended to me by my mom. This book is my mom's book. And it says, a widow's ad for a husband leads to mysterious disappearances. In 1907, shy but loyal Ingrid has traveled from Norway to support her grieving sister Belle, who owns a farm in LaPorte, Indiana. Well-to-do widow Belle has lost 2 husbands and several children, provides Ingrid with enough money to start a small business. But Ingrid is confused by the string of men Belle claims to be interviewing for her next husband. When Niles comes to town looking for his missing brother, who said he was going to marry Belle, Ingrid has a sinking feeling her sister is up to no good. Just how many of Belle's suitors are missing, and why? So that will be my next read. And other than reading this today, I watched a bit of the Olympics this afternoon and this evening. I talked to my mom on the phone, and then I finished this book. But the Olympics were on, but they were showing stuff that I was not particularly interested in or had seen, and they were showing a replay of it. And I'm like, come on. I want different events. But I have looked, and show jumping starts tomorrow. But It's showing at 5 a.m. my time. Yeah, I will not be up watching it at that time. So I will plan on watching some of the replay later in the day. And I think also rowing medals are on tomorrow. Like the competitions for the medals is on tomorrow, I think. So maybe I can catch some of that. But I'm really looking forward to the show jumping. That's the event that I really want to watch. So if my TV channels do not cooperate with my watching preferences, I will just stream it on my phone because I can do that. I'd rather watch it on the TV on a bigger screen than my phone, but you do what you have to do, right? Okay, I am going to start winding down and head to bed. Check in later. Okay, I have started The Gold Digger, and I found this on audio through Hoopla. So I started listening to it this morning. So I got a couple chapters read this morning, and I am now on, just about to start chapter 6 on page 45, and I am hooked. Hooked. So we are following, how do you say his name again? Wait. This is the advantage of audio, is they tell me how it should be pronounced. So Tolsma is how the narrator pronounced her name, so that's helpful to know. And Niels, that's it, Niels is the main guy in this, along with Ingrid is the main female that we're following. So Ingrid is the sister of Belle, and Niels is the brother of Sven, who came to marry Belle and has gone missing. And so that's basically where I am right now. And I just want to keep reading. I am so hooked on wanting to know. And this is set in Indiana in 1907. Ingrid is living in town and runs a confectionery, and Belle lives on the farm. And Niels owns a car dealership in Detroit? Yes, Detroit. Yeah, and so they're driving a Model A and another Ford model that I can't remember the name of, but I don't think that's really or a Roadster, but I don't remember what the number is or letter is. Doesn't really matter, I don't think. It's just so he comes across as having money because he owns a dealership and drives an automobile, and at this point in time automobiles are still very rare and just kind of coming in, right? So yeah, I gotta keep reading to find out what's gonna happen because I am very interested. I have suspicions of what is happening based on kind of the back of it and a couple things that have happened already, but I don't really know. So, yep. And tonight is Thursday night, so I did not get up this morning to watch the show jumping, but I did stream some of it late after the fact. I actually don't know where they placed at the end of the day. I really should check that. But then I turned on the Olympics on CBC this evening, and they actually showed some of the rowing. So that's exciting because that's what I actually really like to watch, in addition to the show jumping. Maybe they'll show the show jumping when it comes to the finals. I mean, it's qualifications right now, so that's why they're not showing them, but that's okay. And tonight, Krista from Books and Jams is doing reading sprints with Amy from Amy's Bookish Life. So I will be participating in that one, but there's also reading sprints with Holly and Chantel doing it, and I'm just like, there's so much. And then tomorrow, Katie and Becca are doing separate sprints, and yesterday Lucy did some, and the day before, like, there are sprints like all this week. Like, wow. So yeah, so I am going to join in and just have the Olympics playing in the background because that's what I like to do. And I am going to see how far I can get in this book because I'm very hooked. I will check in and let you know if my interest keeps. throughout or if I start to get bored. I'll let you know. Okay, so I don't think I have checked in since I said that I was able to find this book on audio and that I listened to a couple chapters as I was getting ready for work Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, it was, because that's when I started this. And I haven't checked in since. I read it Thursday evening, then listened to it again Friday morning as I was getting ready for work, and then yesterday, which was Friday, I read and read and read. Oh, as my bookmark falls. This is all I have left. I'm on page 196 and it's 250, so I basically have 50 pages left. Or it might be 252 because it doesn't fit in the under 250 pages, which is fine. I am so hooked, which is why I did not check in yesterday. And then I participated in reading sprints last night with Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails. And then I switched over to Becca from Becca Books and Bujo once Katie's had ended. I just read. And then I had to stop reading because it was getting late and I wanted to sleep. And there is possibilities. There is most likely murders that have happened in this book. Kind of creepy. We don't find out details or anything, but men have gone missing. And they're trying to find one of the missing men. And there's a possibility of what happened to that man. And possibly other men. I mean, it is American true crime, is what it's based on. But as I'm reading it, what I think, because I mean, I still have 50 pages left, so I don't know, but what I think is going on, like what we're going to find out has happened to these men, kind of hits home to a Canadian case, opposite sex. It was women that went missing. But yeah, I was like, I want to sleep tonight. I need to stop reading. So now it is Saturday morning. It is 11:15 and my husband is at work. So I have borrowed his tablet while he's at work so that I can watch show jumping. Oh, you see the reflection of the windows. So that I can watch show jumping it's the team competition for the Olympics that happened yesterday, but I didn't get to watch it. And I can't stream it on the television, and on the television they're showing like tennis and soccer and the floor routine of gymnastics, stuff that I'm not really that interested in. So I'm going to watch this and sit here and read. Yes, I do two things at once. So that is what I'm going to do. And then once I finish it, I cannot start a book until I write a review for not only this book, but The Far Side of the Sea by Kate Breslin that I also finished, because I have not written the review for that one yet. Oops. Oh well. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll see how long it takes. I was hoping I could do the read for 3 hours straight today while my husband's at work, but he'll be home in 3 hours. And I have a mental thing about, 11. I guess he'll be home in 4 hours, maybe, but I do have to eat lunch at some point, right? And what is 3 hours straight? Can I have something going in the background that I'm watching while I'm reading? Can I stop and get lunch and read? That's not reading for 3 hours straight then. And I'm like, I mean, last night I read with reading sprints from 8 o'clock to 11:30, I think it was when they finished. But again, it was reading sprints, so there were breaks in between. So that wasn't reading straight either. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about the reading straight prompt. I don't think I'm going to get a gold medal for that one because I'm in my own head about the 3 hours straight thing. And then it's kind of similar on the 2 hours, but I cannot sit and just read without having something on in the background. Something going on. I can't do it. I have gotten so used to reading while the TV's on that now to read for a long period of time, yeah, without any background noise, I can't do it. So, yeah, that's my dilemma right now. Hopefully by the end of the vlog, I will have figured out how many points I'm going to get for the reading prompt. For now, I'm gonna open my book, start the show jumping, and read. A little behind the scenes of what it looks like. I'm watching show jumping and I'm recording for the vlog. And I have my book right here that I'm going to start reading on chapter 27. Get rid of the bookmark. There we go. Wow. Wow. And my sister-in-law called while I was reading the last page. I was like, what kind of timing is that? But that's fine. She had information I needed to know. So, yeah. But, oh my gosh. Wow. So the back says, fiction based on strange but true history. And then I was reading the historical notes, kind of what is true and what is fiction that she's put into this book. And the way it ends is really how the true case ended. Nobody really knows exactly what happened. And like, yeah. Wow. I loved this. I was so invested on wanting to know what's going on. And I have my suspicions of what happened, like how it wrapped. But as I said, nobody really knows. It's never been completely figured out. Wow. And the way the story is told, this is my first book by this author, but it will not be the last. She definitely sucked me in and just made me want to keep reading. Yeah. So there is obviously murder that happens, multiple murders that happen. But the murders themselves are not described, like in the act of happening. But it is described like the way the bodies are found and kind of what has happened to them. So take that with kind of your trigger warning that might be a trigger. But there is so much faith mentioned in this between the main 2 characters and discussions of you are not alone, God is with you, he will carry you through. And there is one point where the main female character sings a hymn with another character, and like it's written out like the hymn, And it's one I know, except for the last verse. I didn't recognize the last verse. But as like they're singing it, I couldn't help but sing it as I was reading it. Like it just, yeah. Wow. I fully enjoyed this. Fully enjoyed this. And yeah. I don't really have anything else to say. I was so hooked on the mystery aspect and what's going on. And there is a romance that happens, so that kind of made it that much better for me because I loved the characters, I was hooked on the story, the plot. Yeah. This is definitely a 5-star book for me. Thank you, Mom. And now I'm like, does she want this book back? Or do I get to keep it on my shelves? I will ask her when I see her, or when I talk to her. I'll talk to her before I see her, but oh my gosh. Okay, as I said though, now I need to go write 2 reviews before I pick up my next book, because I really want to start my next book, but I need to get some stuff done. And I also need to get lunch now. It is time to eat. I'm starting it, and I have written the 2 reviews that I need to write. I've updated my reading journal. I've submitted the points for the deck of TBR-a-thon for that book. So now I can start this one, and I have my playing card here because that's the one that matches this one for the deck of TBR-a-thon. So this book is working for the 3 readathons. This is going to be my first book in a series for the Olympics Readathon. It is my number 3 for the deck of TBR, and it is also, I think, first book in a series for the Keep Me in Suspense Readathon. I think that's the prompt it's fitting as well. Huh, I didn't realize they were both the same prompts. That works perfect. So that is, I'm gonna sit down and read for a little bit, and then we are heading out to meet up with some friends for supper and a games night, and we'll see. Maybe I'll check in, maybe I won't. I don't know, it depends what we're doing. But I am so excited to start this one. I have been dying to read this since it came out, but I was waiting for the whole series to come out before I started it. And now the whole series has been out for, I think the book 3 came out last March. It's been out for over a year. Jeanette, get to reading it. Finally, August, it's happening. It's a romantic suspense, and that's about all I really know following Secret Service, I think. Yes, Secret Service agents, yes. And the, what are they called? The praise from other authors says, do not miss this one, from Ronnie Kendig. Or Unknown Threat is a fantastic read, from Elizabeth Goddard. Or Kara Putman, who I've also read, says Lynn Blackburn has created a page-turning novel with all the elements I've come to love in her books. I sure hope so. Okay, I will check in when I'm a little bit further. Well, when I actually get into it. I haven't really got into it, so I don't know anything about it yet. Update time. So last night we had supper, we played some games with some friends, and I didn't vlog any of it. We just were in the moment with friends. But I have read. So today I put together some freezer meals, I cleaned my makeup brushes, we talked about our upcoming vacation, kind of things we're gonna do. It's been a fairly, Andrew washed the car, like it's been a fairly productive day. And of course I watched some of the Olympics, like, yeah. Oh, and we did laundry. And now I am 72 pages in, just about to start chapter 8. And I'm really enjoying already some of the banter between a couple characters. I have an idea of who the love interest is going to be, like who's gonna form a relationship. But then there's like friends involved, kind of like teasing them about different things. I think I'm gonna like this friend group and the people. There has been, well, really, I guess
So a couple of people died, a couple of people were injured, and now it's trying to figure out why this happened. Like, who was behind these attacks, and can they stop it before other people get injured? I'm very interested. Very interested. I want to just sit down and read, but I also want to watch the Olympics. And it's hard to do both when you're very invested in a race that's going on and you want to see the winner, right? So, yeah. But that's okay. And I've got my playing card in here for the deck of TBR so that I know which prompt this one was for. And yeah, so I'm also doing this for the Keep Me in Suspense readathon. I think I mentioned that. This is my first book in a series. So yeah, it's only my second book of the month, but I'm really enjoying it, and I plan on binging the series all at once. We'll see if that goes. I am reading or planning on doing the read along with Krista from Books and Jams for Hind's Feet on High Places, and we need to have the first 8 chapters read by next Sunday. And I haven't read any of that yet. So really, I need to do a chapter a day. Well, a chapter a day with 2 chapters on one day to be on time, which should not be a problem. But I really should read my chapter a day at least, right? But right now, Andrew has gone off to get sundaes for us. Kind of a little dessert tonight. And yeah, I'm gonna read. That's my update so far. I am expecting to love this based on just the characters alone. You have characters I want to root for. I'm probably gonna enjoy the story. We'll see what happens. That's all I have left. So I have not been doing a great job at checking in as I started this book. I am on page 238. I have exactly 100 pages left because 338. And I came across another part that reminded me last night that when I was reading it, it was like, oh yeah, I need to include that in a clip. And then I got really distracted and continued reading. And then went to bed. Then as I started reading tonight, it happened again. I'm like, oh yeah. So I stopped and I'm doing this clip. So Lynn Blackburn has included mentions of characters from her Dive Team Investigations series, which is the first series that she wrote before this one, and was the series that introduced me to her writing that I have read fully twice because I just loved it. So then to have mentions of some of those characters, and now there's an in-person interaction with one of those characters. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so excited about that. I love when characters carry over from books and kind of we pick up and see. And it's a very slight little glimpse of what they're doing now, but I love it. And so I had mentioned that I wasn't sure what to do about the prompt for reading for a certain amount of time and how I was going to track that and figure out how many points I get for that. And I still haven't fully decided how I'm going to do it because I really just wanted to sit on the couch, have my clock timer going, and follow it that way. But I didn't do that. And yeah, I basically didn't do that. And it's too late to start it now because I will have to go to bed before 3 hours is up. But I have been doing reading sprints. I've been participating in reading sprints all last week and last night and again tonight. We're on break right now. And so I'm like, if I do sprints that last over 3 hours, I'm focusing on reading. Yes, there are the chat breaks in between, but I'm really focusing on reading. Can that count for the 4 points for reading 3 hours straight? That's kind of what I want to do. I'm not really sure if maybe that's only 2 hours. I don't know. I really want the gold medal. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I am loving the banter of these characters between the FBI agent and the Secret Service agent, and they have feelings towards one each other, but they can't act on those feelings because of past, or right, like it's just, but then they do, and is it going to be okay to move forward? Like it's just so, and the interaction, and I think I already said this. I don't know. I don't know if I checked in. But there's like friends involved, the co-workers, and kind of the banter and the teasing between the group of co-workers. I love good character groups where people interact together. That is really, really my thing. So, as I said, I have 100 pages left. I'm hoping to finish tonight. I will check in when I finish and let you know kind of what my final thoughts are. I have not started Hind's Feet on High Places yet because I'm fully invested in this book. So as soon as I finish this one, then I'm going to focus on that one to get the required reading done. And then I'll probably pick up book 2 of this series, most likely. And then I've been working on looking back at some of the clips, and I've realized filming in the basement without my photo lights on, photography lights, whatever, can't be done. Just the basement pot lights are not good with my camera. So that's, I came upstairs to our guest room to film this clip. Yeah, so I have a clip that I might have to replace. We'll see. Okay, I'm going back to reading. I finished it. I really enjoyed this story. When you have characters that I want to root for and a romance that's just like a slow build up with a lot of banter between the characters. Yeah. Now, the suspense side of it, kind of the case that's going on, I had suspicions of who was behind what was going on and what was really happening, but I did not figure it all out. And I like that when I'm kept guessing and can't figure it out. And then the last chapter is not quite an epilogue, but it might as well be an epilogue and kind of like an update of what's happened from when the case is initially solved and what's since. Loved it. Loved it. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is a 4.5 star, I think, because at times there were so many characters involved and possible suspects that I wasn't like fully following, and I had to really kind of really pay attention and think about it. But the characters did it for me. And then the connection with the characters from the Dive Team Investigation series, I love that. Love when characters carry over. So this is my third and final book for the Olympics Readathon, which was the first book in a series for 4 points. And I don't have the other 2 books by me, so I can't do like a wrap up. Maybe I'll do a wrap up tomorrow to close out, because I got to figure out where my points are at. And this was also number 3 on my deck of TBR, so I can log that book. I will do that tomorrow as well. And as I said, I'm going to read my required reading for Hind's Feet before I start book 2. But I can't wait to start book 2 because now we've met a group of agents, co-workers, and I know we're going to follow characters in the next one. And there is at least one possible romance relationship that I would like to see happen. So we'll see. But yes, I do recommend this one for suspense and character relationship. So let's recap the Olympics Readathon and how I did. So for the first prompt, I chose to read a book that is set in Paris for 4 points. For that one, I read Far Side of the Sea by Kate Breslin. So this one is not completely set in Paris, but it is Paris
the characters are in Paris multiple times throughout the book. So Paris is a setting. And this was a 4-star read for me. Okay, then for the second, for the medals, I chose to go for gold on the cover for 4 points. And I read The Gold Digger by Liz Tolsma. And I absolutely loved this book. This was a 5-star read for me. Then for the pink row, the first, second, or third, I went again with 4 points. The first book in a trilogy, and I read Unknown Threat by Lynn H. Blackburn. This is the first book in the Defend and Protect series, and again, I absolutely loved this book. It's another 5-star read for me. Okay, then I'm gonna skip the yellow for a minute. Gonna go down to green, which is to watch the Olympics. And I went for 4 points and watched 4+ events. Now, I've watched more than 4+ events. I know that Andrew's going to be happy when the Olympics is over because then the TV will be on something else. Or maybe the TV won't even be on. Because pretty much it's on constantly right now. Unless they're showing an event that I don't really like. Or don't want to watch. Like, I don't want to watch the boxing. I don't want to watch the soccer. I don't want to watch the water polo. The basketball, I'm just not into those weightlifting, like those kind of events. Some of them are just boring to me, and some of them I just don't really care about. But anytime I knew that swimming was going to be on, or the rowing, those are kind of my favorite ones. Well, other than the show jumping, but they don't show that very often. So I streamed that instead. It wasn't on the TV. So then again, that's why Andrew will be happy when it's over, because I borrowed his tablet to stream it rather than trying to watch it on my phone. So yeah, I have watched a lot of the Olympics. So that is an easy 4 points. So with those 4 prompts, I am now at 16 points. And I only need 17 points for a gold medal. And this is where I'm not really sure where my points are because I don't know how to count this. So this is the reading. So for 1 point, I can read for 30 minutes straight. Okay, I've easily done that. For 2 points, I can read for 1 hour straight. Again, I can easily do that. For 3 points was to read for 2 hours straight. Now, I don't know. This is like 2 hours, and for 4 points, it's read for 3 hours straight. These are the two that I have set aside reading time for this block. Because my husband normally goes to bed at 8 o'clock, and I'm up till 11:30, midnight, and most of that time is usually spent reading. And a lot of that I spent recently on reading sprints. But yes, there's chatting in between, so I'm not really reading for that time period straight. So I'm not quite sure how to count that. So either way though, I definitely have the 1 point or the 2 point. So I've got 16 or 18 points. That's easy, not a problem. So with 18 points, I've got the gold medal. And I did not do any of the fun bonus prompts that Holly had created. I was going to, but I didn't. I'm trying to think if any of them, I don't even remember what they are. And they're on my Instagram, which is on my other phone that is currently charging, so I can't even look. Because I know there was something with horses involved, and I feel like, yeah, this one had horses. They're kind of the start of the automobile at this time period, but they also rode in buggies from the farm to the town and stuff, so horses were involved. I don't remember what the other ones were. Yeah, a beach setting. I know that was one of them, and I definitely don't have a beach setting. But yeah, so this was a successful readathon, and I've had so much fun kind of just vlogging my journey through these books, and I hope I piqued your interest at least on the 2 books that I absolutely loved. And I mean, even the other book was a 4-star for me, so this was a very successful. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I hope that you will stay tuned for future videos on my channel. Have a great day. Bye.